Hello viewers, Flash Motorsport here and welcome to the Brands Hatch in the Ginetta. This is a new Spotlight series in Forza Motorsport and it is an absolute blast of a car to drive, absolutely great tracks as well, and it's a massively welcome addition to this game. And I've got to say, I think it's better than the MX-5 Cup series. The cars are not fastest in the world, but they handle superbly and it's got a great soundtrack to go along with them. It's just an absolute blast of a car to drive. So as we're coming around the first corner, we are in P5 position, going round down the hill, braking as the curb starts, stab with the brakes just a little bit, coasting it round in 4th gear and accelerating out the other side. As you can see, the cars are getting a bit away from us in front, but all is not lost. What they might have in power, I can outdo in handling, because everybody can tune up the car their own specific way. And some cars are faster than others, where some cars handle better than others. But as long as you are in the slipstream like we are right now, we are going to be making gains, because that is where this car massively excels, in the slipstream department. You already see some chaos is forming up in front, and I'm just going to dive right through into P1 position. Look at that, going a bit squirrely there, but lucky enough I'm able to hold on to it for dear life. Sacrifice 2 positions though, which is quite annoying, but it is what it is. Coming around here, just got to try and get past a Bishop 1972, and I do have a fair few cars up my rear end. Again, like I say, because every car is tuned differently, or some people might be using the same tune as others, but some cars will excel differently to others, where that might show in the cornering, where some cars can take the corner quicker, so a bit of collision here and there happens. You see the blue car in the rearview mirror did go off track in that first corner, but I'm going to try and make it up the inside here and get past a Bishop 1972. Braking just after the 100-meter marker into 5th gear, coasting it round and powering on downhill. I'm pushing myself a little bit wide, giving the car some room, but also making them aware I am coming over. Braking down the 3rd gear, coasting it round this corner now, and catching up to Afro Joe 05 in front. Now, Afro Joe 05 in front is a teammate of mine. We are racing together. The great thing about Afro Joe is he is an absolutely incredibly fast driver. And I am watching from a distance where they are braking and where they are turning in on corners. Again, because this is a totally different setup to touring cars and other racing cars as well. You don't have to take the same line that you usually do. You can take a far more optimal line. So watching the car in front, what they are doing and where they're braking and turning in, is where I'm going to start learning to get those few attempts to be able to get away from the cars behind. As you can see, I am braking away from them. TAR pontoon is 1.1 second away from me in the rear view now, and I'm coming down this hill and accelerating out the other side, catching up to Afro Joe, who I do believe is letting off a little bit for me to catch up and ultimately be able to visualize what is happening a bit more and what they are doing. We are now 1.5 seconds away from the cars behind. So like I say, in the cornering, I might be quicker than them in the corners, where they might accelerate me on the straight. It doesn't seem to look that way though, because they were still 1.5 seconds away from me at the end of that straight. We are 1.2 seconds away from Afro Joe in front, so we are in quite a neutral area at the moment. As we look to the left hand side, braking again at 100-meter board, just down in the 5th gear, coasting it around and down the dip we go and accelerating out the other side. And then looking out for just after the 100-meter board, then down to 3rd gear. You don't have to brake hard. That's the great thing about this car, is you just put on a little bit of brake, bring that speed down and let the car just gently coast around. It's more of a carrying your speed and finessing the car rather than absolutely putting your foot flat on the floor and then braking extremely hard to try and reduce that speed. It's a car that you just got to move like the wind and just be gentle with it, and it really does excel. Now you can see we have caught up to Afro Joe in front, who's 0.4 seconds away. Again, I do believe they're let off a little bit from me here. They are, like I say, a much faster driver, but where this car massively excels is in the slipstream department. And this is where teamwork massively pays off, because as you can see, Afro Joe is pulling away from me in the corners, but he's pulling me along with him. And that is what this series needs. So if you do have a faster person in front, let that faster person take that and try and stay in the slipstream. rather than fighting them for that position. And like I say, if you can get away from the cars behind, and that's what you need to do, is break that toe away from the cars behind, because you see that yellow car in the rearview mirror is very, very quick. They're now 0.6 seconds away from me. They've been nothing but gaining upon me, and although my lap times has stayed pretty consistent, they have got faster. I guess they were pushing it a little bit too hard because they've just gone off track. Well, that's provided us with a little bit of stale area that we can work with now and use to our advantage, really, because Afro Joe is 0.6 seconds ahead as we come round the first corner and downhill, flat out down here and up the other side. We are still gaining from them. Look at that now, 2.4 seconds away from the cars behind. 2.5 now, absolutely incredible. Coming around here a little bit too slow, but we're going to come down the hill, back down the fourth gear, coasting it round, using as much of the track as you can and trying to keep that speed up as much as possible and try and catch up to Afro Joe who is up ahead, because I want to be able to stay within the toe of that car rather than be on my own lonesome by myself. But we are on the last lap as well, just bear that in mind. So they are now 1.1 second away and I'm 3.6 seconds away from the car behind. So I wonder what happened, because that's a whole second gained. That's incredible. Coming around here in fifth gear, rubbing that curve just a touch and accelerating out the other side. Keeping to your left just after the 100 board, dab of the brakes, over the curb you go. Maximize as much of this track as you can. Again, this car is all about carrying as much speed as possible and not touching that brake pedal unless it's absolutely necessary, because this car handles superbly. Anyway, braking just at the 100 meter board, just a touch into fourth gear, coasting it around, going through a little bit slow there. But I'm trying to be a bit more cautious towards the end of the race and stay on the tarmac than pushing and then make a mistake or just pushing out a little bit too hard and going off. I'd rather keep P2 position and sacrifice, like I've always done, a few tenths here and there. But as we cross over the finish line, we finish in P2 position. Absolutely incredible. But nothing beats what we're going to do at Watkins Glen in the next race. But before we get there, I'd just like to thank our channel members, which is Andy Good and Jeffrey Anderson. As we start off at Watkins Glen, we did qualify. We got P1 and 2, which is absolutely perfect. Couldn't ask for any better than that. Again, I'm with Afro Joe 05, and they're going to pull over in front of me right now. Looking out for just after the 100 meter board, down with the brakes, diving in, over the curb we go. And I come out that corner much quicker than Afro Joe does, so I am going to take that lead and push as much as I can and try and keep the momentum going, because you can see the cars in the rearview mirror, we are massively away from those cars behind, and that's what matters. Now this is where teamwork massively pays off. Afro Joe is in my rearview mirror now. He's going to give me a little bit of a push. Come on, this car can go faster. You can see we are almost topping out, but we do work with each other and eventually push along. Coming through the bus stop, 90 miles per hour over the curves we go. Can go a little bit quicker through there, but ultimately I'd rather stay in one piece on my first lap. Coming around here, looking at a blue hut on the right side, and full throttle after you pass that blue hut, and down this long straight we go. Afro Joe is to my left hand side, comes up the back of me, gains a good bit of slipstream, keeping right up. Looking out for the 100 board on your right hand side, letting off the throttle, down into fifth gear, let the car's full speed and rotation come round. Coming back over to your left hand side, just a touch off the brakes and coming over to the right, just missing that wall, perfect, and accelerating out we go. You can see P3 is 1.4 seconds away. We want to try and increase that. Afro Joe is working with me, pushing me along the straight. At the 100 meter board, dab of the brakes into fifth gear, over the curb we go, and power on as soon as possible, and down the straight we go. We are now 1.7 seconds away from the cars behind, and that is how quick this car can be when you carry the speed through. We gained a good 4 to 5 tenths through that one corner alone. Afro Joe again working with me. Come on buddy, I've got the slipstream, I can push you along, and we can both work together and be faster and get away from the cars behind. 2.2 seconds away from the cars behind. As we look out for the ambulance, letting off the throttle down to 90 miles per hour, into fifth gear, over the curbs we go, accelerating out the other side. Letting off the throttle again a little bit as we're coming round past the blue hut on the right hand side. As soon as you see that blue hut, full throttle again, and down the other side we go. You see we're 0.3 seconds away from Afro Joe in the rear view mirror right now, but those temps are coming down very, very quickly because they have the ultimate slipstream up ahead, looking at the 100-meter board, coasting it round here into 5th gear, onto the left hand side, just a touch of the brakes, and then rubbing that curb on your right hand side and accelerating out of the corner we go, and across the start and finish line again. We are massively gaining on here, 3.5 seconds away from the pack of cars behind. Absolutely astonishing, and this car sounds great, drives great, and the tracks that come with it are absolutely amazing. As I go off track and give myself a little penalty. Oh, I couldn't believe it. Sent it just a tad too much. Oh, it was 0.1 second. Which is basically just about nothing. The lowest they can give you if they're going to give you a penalty. So, although frustrating, I do have that huge gap from the cars behind. Afro Joe is ahead. So, although they gained upon that position, I can claw back a bit of time here. Claw back those temps thanks to the slipstream. Here we go. Going through here at 95 miles per hour, over the curbs we go, accelerating out the other side, going a bit slow on the exit, and round the corner we go. Looking out for the blue hut on the right hand side, full throttle on the last part of the corner, and out we go. Again, we are on the slipstream of Afro Joe in front, 0.4 seconds away, so we're going to gain upon them now. You can see how quick we are gaining on them right now. It's crazy to think how overpowered the slipstream is in this such a slow car, yet it's just so slippery because of the shape of it and everything like that. It's just a work of art, this car, and I can't praise it enough. I had the most fun racing in this car. Although it's the slowest race I've ever had, I've had the most fun. Now it's my turn to work with Afro Joe in front and push them along, whilst also watching when they're braking, how hard they're braking, and when they're turning in on corners. Those few temps that I can gain by carrying a bit more speed through each corner will make or break a lap time, and for hugely, especially when coming out of a corner. If you can maximize the speed coming out of a corner, you can really take away from the cars behind, providing they're obviously not in your slipstream. Again, I'm working with Afro Joe in front, give them a little touch. They're going a little bit off track, and I'm trying to stay on track, give them a little touch. Made them a bit squirrely, so I'll back off and rather give them a little bit of space again as we're going through the bus stop one more time through here. And there we are, 90 miles per hour through there, coming round this corner, looking out for the hut on the right hand side and accelerating out of there. They are 0.6 seconds away from me now. They were a little bit quick on the exit of the bus stop, but again they're going to come over, give me that slipstream, and I'm going to start clawing them back in. Looking out for the 100-meter board on the right hand side, just a tap of the brakes into 5th gear, coasting it round, and then back over to the left hand side, a touch of the brakes to get the nose down, and through the curb we're going out the other side and accelerating down the straight towards the start finish line. They are 0.6 seconds ahead, but we are 5 seconds away from the cars behind as we cross over to start our final lap. Absolute mind-boggling speed. This car is absolutely brilliant, and if you can find someone, a teammate that you can work with, whether you know them or not, in the lobby, and you can work with that person, push away from the cars behind, and that is where you excel. Work together at the beginning of the race, fight each other at the end of the race, and that is how you win in this car, because the slipstream is so overpowered. Just pulling away from everybody behind is what you need. Create that stale area so you and the other person can fight and race each other without the need of someone else joining the party, overcomplicating things. As you come through the bus stop the last time, coming through about 90 miles per hour, can go a little bit quicker. Coming round the side we go, letting off the throttle a little bit, and then seeing the hut and full throttle on the way out. You can see we are 0.4 seconds away from Afro Joe in front. Coming down the last straight, gaining a little bit upon them, 0.3 seconds now. Looking out for the 100-meter board on the right hand side, dab of the brakes into 5th gear, coasting it round, and then accelerating out the other side. Come over to the left hand side, dab of the brakes through the curb, accelerate out the other side, and you can see now we're 7.5 seconds away from the cars behind. Huge lead, and it's been an absolute blast to drive these cars. And if you want to see another race where the car was an absolute gem to drive, click this video at the bottom of your screen now.